If you want to lead this community well, then you must revoke any and all public support and promotion of Pride events, refuse to promote Pride in any of our city ordinances, and resist any state and federal pressure to support these lifestyles. All right, well, hello and welcome to Westside Unscripted. This is the podcast where pastors loosen their ties, throw away their notes, and talk about all things theology and culture. And I'm here this time, not with one of the pastors, but with one of the deacons, Nate Axtell. And my name is Josh Bartels. I'm the preaching pastor at Westside. And we are here in a different format today because we are actually on camera, which is something new for the podcast that we haven't done before. And we have really a little bit different of a focus than we usually have in the past. Today we're going to be reviewing a council meeting that Nate and I got to be a part of and just explaining sort of the rationale behind why we were there in the first place, why we said what we said, and then give some responses to the reactions that we got from the council members at the council meeting. So that's really the purpose of this video, is to kind of help our church family think through the specific reactions that come when we speak the truth in public and speak the truth to anyone, regardless of what that particular setting is. And so let's talk about why we were there at the city council meeting in the first place.
Yeah, so for years I've just been watching city council meetings and just trying to think through how to be God's people in this realm. You know, how we can love our neighbors, and it seems like it's a place for us to, or for me personally, to be able to be involved in the city that I love, and just from the preaching of the Word of God, from the church, from reading Scripture, and just talking to the Lord about ways to love our city well. Seemed like this would be some way to be involved, and just I've been wanting to get involved, but never actually having it work out to go to a city council meeting until the Lord worked on you to want to go, and then we connected to get going, and we went for, I don't know, how many meetings did we go to?
I think it was 4 maybe that I had been to before this one.
Yeah, so they occur on the first and the third Wednesdays of every month. And so we decided we were going to try to go together, and there's other pastors and people from another church in the area that are going, and so it's cool to just go and have a little group there to observe what's going on and appreciate the order that our city councils give, and our mayor is there giving a report every meeting. And
what instigated our actually saying something at this meeting was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. I felt that this gave us a cultural moment that we could actually say something to them about the moment that was in which we were able to speak out about what we believe to be true and what would be good for the community.
Yeah. It hasn't been our goal to just come in and figure out where we can start contention, right? It just so happens that this situation came along, and it's an obvious point that needs to be addressed, and also a legitimate way to honor the Lord with our involvement there, and to love our neighbors, to just speak the truth.
Yep. So then in the public recognition time, we came up with our statement. So we'll start watching the video now and then giving comments as we go. Good evening, council members. My name is Josh Bartels. I'm the pastor of Westside Baptist Church and a resident of this great city. I deeply appreciate your work on the behalf of our people. Your job demands a level of wisdom, humility, and dedication that I deeply appreciate. So thank you. As a Christian pastor, my responsibility is to speak the truth, to open people's eyes to the world as it is and not as they want it to be. The assassination of Charlie Kirk this last week should be a wake-up call to civic leaders everywhere in America, and I want to make sure that you hear this wake-up call addressed directly to you today. This tragedy occurred because our society has turned its back on reality. God created humanity in his own image. He created humanity as male and female. Marriage is divinely ordered to be the joining of one man with one woman for one life, for the production of children and for the good of the world. All sexual deviation from this norm that fly under the flag of pride are violations of divine law. They are, in fact, a rebellion against reality itself. And I want to speak about transgender ideology specifically because it is inherently violent. Rather than helping those who are tragically suffering from gender dysphoria, transgender ideology tells them to chemically and even surgically do violence to their own bodies. The operating principle behind this ideology, then, is that violence may be perpetrated against the human body to conform that body to support our own desires. It should be no surprise, then, when members and supporters of the transgender community then take this principle to its logical conclusion and commit acts of violence against the bodies of those who do not support their delusions. Transgender ideology has resulted and will continue to result in brute force violence like we witnessed this last week. This chamber has publicly and repeatedly supported pride in Bremerton. And by supporting this destructive philosophy, you are undermining the aims that you seek to achieve as public servants. You want peace, but you promote deviance. You pursue justice, but you deny reality. If you want to lead this community well, then you must revoke any and all public support and promotion of pride events, refuse to promote pride in any of our city ordinances, and resist any state and federal pressure to support these lifestyles. The answer to these destructive lifestyles is and always will be the antithesis of pride, and that is humility. Humility before your God, gratitude to Him for your existence, confession of your sin, and throwing yourself in a humble dependence on the mercy and forgiveness of Jesus Christ. This is true wisdom and the only path to a peaceful society. Thank you.
I just think it'd be helpful to say that that this needed to be said because it's not just that you have these feelings that were bursting out of you that had to be aired somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. That you just had to get it out. It's that the city council is failing in their capacity as leaders and city council members in serving the community in the way that they're called to do, in the way that they've been elected to do, and you said exactly that. You said if you want to serve your community, then you need to turn from this. You need to stop doing this. So that needed to be said. They need to be called out for that.
Yeah.
And it's specifically in this thing that they think that they get the most points for, right? They think they get the most credit for supporting pride and being inclusive and everything that needs to be turned on its head. And they need to understand that it's destructive and it's going to reap destruction. And they're facilitating that destruction.
And I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt to all of them that they really do want what's best for the community, that is their desire.
Yeah.
This isn't an incredibly prestigious position, nor is it an incredibly paid position, which means there's some level of benevolence and philanthropy that's motivating this sort of service. And yet what we're saying is not that you don't love Bremerton, in the sense that you don't have some kind of deep affections for Bremerton or a desire to do something good. What we're saying is that your definition and understanding of what is good and right for a community and what it means, therefore, to love them is entirely backwards in this respect. Yeah. And so that's what we're trying to call out.
And that assumption of good motives is also why it's totally appropriate for you to start out by saying, we're thankful for you,
absolutely,
and fulfilling this role that you're doing and the dedication that you have to our city. Thank you, city council members.
Right. And there is a bunch of work that they do that's very good, and I'm glad someone does it.
Yeah.
But this is a critical chink in the armor that undermines, like I said, it undermines everything else that they're doing.
Yeah.
Michael Simons, resident of Bremerton District 3 in my personal capacity, just wanted to get up here and denounce everything that man just said. That was harmful, hurtful, hate speech. You are allowed to have your opinions. Your opinions stop as they leave your body and affect someone else's. His opinion will affect other people. His words will affect other people. If you're trans, you are loved by me, you are loved by our community. If you're gay, LGBTQ, Black, any other minorities, you are loved by this community. You are not to be denounced by religion. So, thank you.
You're going to make comments on it here in just a second too, and we'll, because you step up to the mic after this. I want to call out before we get to your comments and kind of what you responded with, that two things. One, he says that your opinions are yours until they leave your body and affect someone else. Except he is up there at a public venue spouting forth his opinions. And apparently his opinions can be had. The question then becomes, what is hurt? And what does it mean that his opinions hurt people? And that's where you go. And so we'll
his assumption is that his opinions are going to heal and bring good to people, and that your opinions are going to hurt people. And
obviously, he's not against the public sharing of opinions. Right. Or if he is, it's a contradictory position. Well, let's go then to your response. I don't know that your response came immediately after his.
It didn't. Mary Lou came up and did Pledge of Allegiance, and then there were some people online that had some comments about the housing or the homeless people and the public restrooms and stuff like that.
Which we should have probably specified this in the beginning, but this is a cut simply of the pieces of the meeting related to this topic and the responses we got to what we had said. So if you want to see the meeting in its entirety, you can go to bremerton.wa.gov or bremertonwa.gov. The Bremerton City website, if you look it up, you'll find it.
My name's Nate Axtell. I live in Bremerton. I was born and raised in Bremerton, and I love Bremerton. I'm raising kids, hoping that they grow up to love Bremerton and serve here. I want to say I'm with Westside Baptist Church. That was my pastor that came up, and I want to agree with everything that he said, and I'm thankful that he said it. I also want to agree with some things that my neighbor said right after him. Came up and said, if you're trans, I love you. And if you're LGBTQ in any of the iterations of the acronym, then I love you. And love, I guess different people have different definitions, but my definition of it wouldn't mean that anything you say or do needs to be affirmed, especially if it's destructive. If it's destructive, what you're doing, self-destructive even, then the loving thing to do is to find an opportunity to tell you that it's destroying you and try to help you see a different way. I want to agree with him and say that I love you if that's how you identify, but I want to disagree with what he said when he was talking about how his words will impact people. His words, it seems to fit into this ideology that results in the kind of violence that we saw last week. This ideology that says these words are actually violence towards you. And when you say these words are violence, then you give permission for violence to come back at the person who's saying them. And so if this redefinition continues, if people continue to use this modified definition of violence, then permission is given for people to act violently, and it's going to keep happening. And I just want to say it's a lie that these words, when people say things you disagree with, then the right thing to do is to engage. Let's talk it out, and help each other see each other's humanity. And if the words that we have any merit, then maybe we'll convince each other of what we think is true.
Yeah, that's good. So the two things I want to pull out, and then you can run with whatever. One, you specify something that's really important in the entire discussion, because we're about to use this word. This word's going to come up several times, is the word love. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to actually love someone?
Yeah.
But we have to ask, what does it mean then to love somebody? Well, it means to pursue their good. And now that we're back to pursuing their good, we end up coming to, okay, well, what is good? Mm-hmm. What is true for them? What is true about the world, and what is good for them? And so
Yeah.
That question of what is love and what does it mean to love someone is really at the heart of a lot of the kind of discussion that we're going to have. And then the other thing that you brought out was how our words there are people who say that our words are violent themselves. Not that they instigate violence. That's one accusation that would say your words are calling for violence. And I do think that there are words in our culture that people are saying things that are instigating violence.
Yeah.
However, I think that in that case, the majority of the violence instigating languages and the entire permission system for violence is coming from the left. However, that's a different thing than saying your words are literal violence. Like you just did literal harm to me by expressing an opinion that I do not agree with.
Thank you. And thank you all for supporting Pride. I'm very proud to be on a council that is interested in inclusivity to the point of making regulations and resolutions to approve it. Very, very proud of you all. Have a good evening.
All right, I just want to note that was Anna Mockler, a council member who joined the meeting by Zoom. I don't have, outside of the fact that she commented, I don't have anything more to give commentary on except that she admits that the council is actively working to support it. So if people wondered if we were fabricating this actual action on the part of the council to support this isn't just council members who do this in their spare time. The council actively works to do this.
Enacting policies and regulations to support Pride. What that category of regulations is scary. Like is something to think of the implications of. Like I've thought about if my neighbor, Michael Simons, gets elected to District 3 council position, how will his views on hate speech, his definition of hate speech, and how will that impact how he runs a city council meeting if he's the president? Does he cut off Pastor Josh's mic when he's talking?
Yeah.
How does he think it interacts with the First Amendment?
And by the way, Michael Simons, if you're watching, we would love to have a conversation with you.
Let's talk.
All right. Okay, this next one is Councilmember Michael Goodnow. He had just given a presentation. That's why you've got this slide coming on here at the beginning.
I'm gay. Just want to say that. I want to say it loud and I want to say it proud. I was the city's first openly gay city council member. I was the city's first openly gay council president. I have run Kitsap County Pride for 27 years to affect change, to support people, to show love to people. I reject the violence. I find it deplorable that the flags were put at half-mast on the eve of September 11th, and they were not considered for a congresswoman in Minnesota who was shot with her husband in their home. We are teaching the wrong things. We are opposing the wrong things. But there's a separation between church and state. Have your opinions. You don't need to bring them here because we're good. You mentioned reality also. I just want to say that I'm living in reality, and a book that you have faith in is very different from reality. I love you all. I love some of you more. That's all I have.
All right, let's back up a little bit here, because we need to break this up a little bit more.
I'm gay. Just want to say that. I want to say it loud and I want to say it proud. I was the city's first openly gay city council member. I was the city's first openly gay council president. I have run Kitsap County Pride for 27 years to affect change, to support people, to show love to people.
Okay, so let's stop there. He wants to affect change, to support people, and to show love to people. And we are right back to what we talked about earlier. what does it mean to show love to people and to support people? By his definition, at the very least, it means supporting people in their sexual perversion, specifically. So someone says, I am gay and I want to have relations with a man on man or woman on woman. He says, support them. I've
thought about this a lot because it just hurts my heart how proud he is and how hard he is. But I know the Lord can break that pride, and he might just do it for his glory. And for all these people who identify as gay, I can't say that I've been there and like felt the destruction firsthand, but I have been sexually deviant. Like I have seen the destruction that disobeying God's law regarding sex, I've seen that destruction. I've felt that destruction. My family's felt that destruction. And I can say that I love you and I don't want that for you. I don't want you to continue in this destruction. And you're storing up wrath for yourself, and I care about you. And let's talk. Maybe the Holy Spirit will work.
Yeah. And yet so I would say amen to the heart that we should have for him in particular. I think that our heart should be for him, though, is that he would find Jesus, but that God takes him out of office because he's ruling in a way that is destructive and he's supporting terrible things.
Yeah.
And so our heart for him, what it looks like for us to love Goodnow and for us to love Bremerton, is to want him and anyone who would support this kind of agenda off of the council.
Yeah.
That's our goal long term. Our particular levels of involvement in the actual politics, that's just up to you thinking through what does God want, how does God want me to be involved? Am I just simply a voter? Am I going to get involved in local elections in some kind of activist type way? Am I going to run for stuff? That's an individual level situation. But as Christians, our heart is that there would be righteous leaders ruling righteously, men and women who kiss the Son, lest they fall under his destruction, and our whole society literally goes to hell. And so I love him, but I don't want him leading our council because he, in his current state, is an enemy of everything that is good and right in the community.
Yeah.
So
I reject the violence. I find it deplorable that the flags were put at half-mast on the eve of September 11th, and they were not considered for a congresswoman in Minnesota who was shot with her husband in their home. We are teaching the wrong things. We are opposing the wrong things.
Okay, let me just stop there again. We're right back to where we've been this whole time. What is right and what is wrong?
Based on what?
What's your standard for this?
But there's a separation between church and state. Have your opinions. You don't need to bring them here because we're good. Okay.
This one has to be addressed and might very well be where I go in my next address to the council. He says there's a separation of church and state. We don't need your opinions here. We're good. What I would want to clarify is the same thing that we talked about with Simons. He says you should not be denounced on the basis of religion, but he's willing to denounce me on some basis. And I would make the case that it is religious too. He says that there is a separation of church and state. There is not a separation of faith and humanity, period. Like all these people are making vehement claims about what is right and wrong. So we can't say that they don't believe in a morality. They believe in a morality. And so if they believe in a morality, what means that their morality is right versus ours? And that's the question. That's the question of the night that needs to be addressed. Is there is a faith. You are making claims about right and wrong on some sort of standard. And I just want to say, what is that standard? And can we have a discussion about that?
Well, he assumes a standard when he says, I'm living in reality. is the assumed standard is that my reality is better than your opinion, and it's a false dichotomy. It's like saying, so what's the basis of your reality then? And he's talking about sexual preference. So your sexual preference is your reality, what you call reality, and what you expect everybody else to acknowledge as reality, and you expect everybody else to agree with you when you say anybody else's opinion that discounts your sexual preference should be discounted. So let's play that principle out. Are there any sexual preferences that shouldn't be considered reality that you should be able to act on? Should you be able to act out your sexual preference no matter what your sexual preference is? Should everybody be deemed hate speakers if they talk against your sexual preferences, no matter what they are? It's just ridiculous.
Yep.
And destructive. And unloving to say it in such a way that you want everybody else to believe it. You're validating everybody in their deviant sexual preferences.
Yep.
You mentioned reality also. I just want to say that I'm living in reality, and a book that you have faith in is very different from reality.
And this is another one of those, again, we're getting back to the heart of things. What is the standard? We think that the standard is the scriptures. He says that he is living in reality. What is his standard? Is it
it's personal autonomy. That's the standard.
Yep. Reality is simply a piece of Play-Doh that I can do what I want with. And when you are stepping in and trying to say that, basically you're trying to steal my Play-Doh right now, is in one sense what he would be saying, is that the Play-Doh's out here, you're here trying to steal my Play-Doh and do something with it that I don't want to have done with my Play-Doh. I want control of it.
Yeah.
And what we're saying is, buddy, none of us have control of the Play-Doh. There is a standard outside of us. There is a God who made us, and that's what we must conform to. When we don't conform to it, it is like us jumping off of a building and saying, well, I don't believe in gravity. Like gravity is going to work on us whether we believe it or not. And that's why we say this is destructive for him, is because living in this lifestyle is running up against reality. And you can, like people have said, falling and flying are very similar for a while. And at some point there is going to come that reality. That reality is the judgment of God. Whether that reality is the judgment of God in this life in terms of him just running up against the negative consequences of his rebellion against God, or whether this is in the next life when he faces judgment with Christ. He's going to run up against that reality. And his only hope is to actually repent of his rebellion against reality and submission to the one who is reality, and that is Jesus Christ. That is his only hope.
Yeah. It seems like the broader morality, the false morality that he's giving assent to is the morality of consent. Yep. It's like, if it's what I want to do, I can do it. I feel the way I should be able to go after the way I feel, and just, you need to validate my feelings.
And I think as Christians, we should also remember that when he said, he makes a pot shot at our faith in a book. And I just want to remind people that our faith is fundamentally in a person who really lived 2,000 years ago, was really crucified by the Romans at the behest of the Jews. This was a real man who died a real death on a Roman cross, went into a grave and walked out of it. And he claimed to be God. He demonstrated all the powers of God ruling over this earth, and then he ascended into the heavens and even now rules. And this book is the testimony of that. And this is a historical document that operates just like any other historical document that Michael Goodnow studied in high school.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, if he's saying, what about his thoughts about our state's namesake, George Washington? Is that not living in reality to speak of George Washington because we read about him in a book, because I certainly didn't meet him. You know, like reality, like what is the standard of reality again? Like we have to get back to some ultimate standard. It is outside of us, and we are not it.
I love you all. I love some of you more. That's all I have.
It's actually a great and honest way to talk about love, and it is how love works.
And it illustrates the fact that everybody agrees love is good.
Yeah,
Like we all need to love each other.
He's willing to say he loves us.
Yeah.
And so, you know.
Yeah.
And he, like you said, he loves some more, and I'm thankful for that.
Beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah.
I just feel sad. I am sad to see folks in our community resulting to personal insults, to denigrating language, and there's just a lot of ignorance. And I think we can do better. I think we can all do better.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Fry.
I would just like to take the opportunity to say that I have never felt so proud to be Michael Goodnow's colleague and friend. And I commend you for your grace, and I thank you for your ongoing efforts to support all of our community, especially our LGBTQ community. So thank you, Michael, and I will see you all soon.
Yeah, we've already talked about all this, but basically, just notice again, every council member feels the need to offer this pinch of incense to Caesar.
Yep. Take the opportunity. They have this platform. If they don't use it for this, they're going to hear negative comments about it. If they didn't stand up for the LGBTQ community after what you said and my agreement with what you said, then they would have been called out for it.
We have a packed house in some ways tonight, and I'm so glad to see some young folks here. It can be a little bit scary when you see the adults getting.
Before we listen to this, I just want to make sure that our church family knows you and your entire family were there. So,
yeah. And I don't know where she gets the idea that any of them were scared. None of them were scared. They were all just like, this is kind of exciting, you know? And the ones that have been to city council meetings before are like, this is where it's at.
This is a good meeting. There's been boring ones.
Yeah.
And emotionally charged. It can be also kind of exciting.
Yeah.
And you want to be part of it. What I want to say to the young folks out there is to just plant a seed to let you know that you can't pray the gay away. There's just no way to do that. And one day you're going to have friends in your church who are going to identify with the gay community, and I want you to think about being supportive of them and loving them and letting them know that there are people out there that can support them too. And maybe it's something you'll do in opposition to the way your church and your parents believe, and that's okay. And
well, let's pause it there. So Nate, it was your kids in the crosshairs here.
Yeah. She said, I just want to plant a seed. She's very out in the open about her goal here. And I looked her up, and like she has in her employment history that she used to work for the school district, the Bremerton school district. So I'm not sure what role she was in, but these are the kind of people. I don't want to make a blanket statement. Not everybody who works for the schools are like this, but there are people like this that work for our public school system that are looking for opportunities to plant a seed like this into our children, to just give a catchy little phrase that they're never going to forget. You can't pray the gay away, right? And we've talked before about, it's obvious, it's out of bounds. Like for her to directly address my kids from a city council seat, in an official seat, in the official capacity, to talk past me to my kids. And she's going to say more too, right? Or did we listen to it all the way to the end? I can't. I've listened to it so many times, I don't remember what part we listened to.
This is before. This was, I think she gets on.
with that. I just would.
Yeah, she's going to go on to list shootings.
Okay,
we'll
so
talk
she
about
lists
that in
all
a
the
second, but that was
shootings,
it. But she ends with saying, you might just, like, you're going to, I encourage you that if someone in your church comes out as gay,
Yeah.
that you should support them. And it might be in opposition to what your parents believe, and that's okay. So she's saying, okay, your friend comes out as gay. You should support them, even if your parents are telling you not to. And that's okay. She is saying, she is actively promoting dishonoring of parents, which is, you got to be, my goodness, like, this is not good. This is, the whole society is built on fundamentally learning how to submit to authority in the home. That's where it starts. That's where your whole understanding and kind of experience of the world begins.
Yeah.
And when you say dishonor your mom and dad, what you're saying is society is going nowhere. Like, why should anyone listen to her then? Like, why should we listen to the city council regulations then?
Right.
She's doing away with the bedrock.
Right. Yeah. People grow up understanding how to submit to the city council's ordinances and regulations because they grew up with parents who taught them how to submit to authority.
Exactly.
And then she's talking to me from that position of authority, undermining her own, like the chain of events that will lead to someone following the authority of the city council.
Where I would, I don't agree with her talking about that at all to your kids. I think that's a terrible thing for her to do. I think that how I would approach it, because the truth is I don't want every kid in the world to just grow up and do what their parents said. If she has children, does she? I'm not sure if she has children.
But from what I know.
In one sense, if she believes a secular ideology and is not Christian, then I want her child to come to Jesus. Even if Chamberlain never does. I want that child to come to Christ. And yet, I would support her authority as a mother in that child's life. I don't know what the age is, but if still in the home, still, like, I would support that. And I would say that that you should pursue truth. That ultimately, I don't even want my own kids to just do what I say. Ultimately, I want my kids to be people who pursue the truth.
None of us achieve it perfectly.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, exactly.
But we have truth in the scriptures.
We do.
That is actual truth that we understand to be solid, that we can count on, that we want to teach our kids to give assent to and to act based upon. And she does the same thing with her child. She teaches her child what she thinks is true. Even if she tells her child, I don't actually know what's true, like as far as religion is concerned, I don't actually know if there is a God, or if that's what she teaches her child, then she's teaching her child that it's not really knowable.
Right? Exactly.
And so she's teaching a truth claim to her child, and she has that right to do. And she needs to respect our right to do that. But explicitly telling them telling this story about what's going to happen in the future. And in that moment, preparing my children, you need to do something in opposition to what your church says and what your parents say. Is it just caught me off guard. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I know. That was actually actually the one surprising thing about this. It didn't surprise me that people get upset about this issue. It doesn't surprise me that they all responded. Like, that wasn't particularly surprising. Her address of the children. I mean, it makes logical sense to me, but I was not expecting it. I do want to just mention about the "you can't pray the gay away" idea. It's a catchy phrase, but it's just not true. Because Rosaria Butterfield, Jackie Hill Perry, people who were absolutely in open and flagrant rebellion against God, and yet God does a work in their heart, and they turn, and then
transforms,
changes their life. They now have families. They're following Jesus. It doesn't mean that they're perfect, and it certainly doesn't even mean that necessarily all of those perverted desires totally go away, or that they don't have to wrestle with them, but God does a work in them that brings them to the kind of fruitful life that God made them for.
Yeah.
And this is the transforming power of the grace of God. The grace of God is real and actually does a work in real concrete ways.
Yeah.
But that grace of God that is so real, so is his judgment. And so this knife of reality cuts both ways. One, you can go with it and you can experience abundant fruit that is far beyond what you deserve. It's for all of us. We all know what it's like.
Yeah.
Because by God's good grace, we take a step and we see just a harvest that's bigger than we planned on, that we are obedient in some small way, and then suddenly God just pours on the blessings. God is so generous. He doesn't just reward our good doing with like in kind. He multiplies it. And it's a wonderful thing, and that grace is available to anyone who will throw themselves on Christ.
Yeah, I'm in the same category with Rosario Butterfield and Jackie Hill Perry and all these, the multitudes of people who have repented of their sin and trusted in the Lord, and the Lord's transformed them and given them new life. And that's me too. And just like their perverted desires haven't all been taken away yet, that's the same with me. Like I fight against sexual sin every day. And so I'm coming at this just as one sinner to another sinner, just saying, hey, I've experienced the forgiveness of God and the transformation of God, and come along. Let's go.
It's good.
To claim some time. And I'm going to try to be careful about my language here, but I think a lot of you will understand what I'm alluding to when I read a list. Buffalo Supermarket, predominantly black neighborhood, Buffalo, New York, 10 people. Atlanta Spa, 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian American women. El Paso Walmart, 22 people, and additional 24 others hurt.
I'm going to stop because she just keeps on like this with a list of mass shootings that have happened in the United States. I don't entirely understand what she's doing there, but I would say I totally agree with you that these are tragic.
Yeah.
Why are they tragic? What does this say about human life? And what would it look like to better protect human life in Bremerton? Because I think that any attempt to protect and care for human life in Bremerton, Washington is going to mean that we do not affirm people's sexual perversion. We especially, like, sexual perversion is bad, period, and it is sin, and it receives judgment in this life and the next.
Yeah.
Transgender ideology specifically is especially damning to young people and takes advantage of all of the problems of youth and says, hey, the answer could be chemical or surgical mutilation. And that is just, you want to talk about words doing violence? Those are words that do violence. And so that's what we want to stand against.
Yeah.
So anyway, this has been a commentary on the city council meeting, walking through what was said and giving some responses to it. And we'll be back at some point with a future episode in Westside Unscripted and tackling some other topic having to do with faith and culture. If you are interested in finding out more about Westside Baptist Church, you can go to www.bibleddirectionforlife.com, and we have all of our information about the church there. You can check us out and reach out to us if you have any questions.